lot to cover. New battleground state polling this morning showing an increasingly tight race between Joe Biden and President Trump. In Wisconsin, the latest Reuters Ipsos poll shows Biden ahead by 8 among likely voters, and those who have already cast their votes, 51 to 43%. In Pennsylvania, the same poll shows Biden and President Trump statistically tied among likely voters, and those who have already voted, Biden 49%, Trump 45%. And in Georgia, the latest Emerson College poll shows another statistical tie. Trump 48, Biden 47%.
So, John Heilman, what do you see in those polls? We also just had a new New York Times Siena poll coming out this morning showing Joe Biden up 9 nationally. What trends are you looking at?
Joe, I think, it sounds a little bit like a broken record here. We talked about this yesterday. I think, what you really see here is what you've seen really for months, which is, a race that has demonstrated remarkable stability for months. So it sounds like it's a boring headline here, right? You are starting to see, the inevitable thing that I think people in our business have expected for a long time. And you and I and Mika and Willie and I have discussed also for months, which is that as you got into these final days, that the race was going to tighten a little bit. I think the most important thing, one of the biggest outstanding questions, is whether Donald Trump can do in these last couple of weeks what he did to his enormous benefit in 2016, which was to bring Republicans home. At the end of 2016, the people around Trump were very focused on the question, especially right after the Comey letter came out. Could they get north of 90% of Republicans to come back to Donald Trump? There'd be some real questions about that, especially after the Access Hollywood tape. Could he get that kind of loyalty out of those kind of standard issue Republicans, regular Republicans? Would they come back to him? And he spent those last 2 weeks with a lot of discipline in 2016, you'll recall, talking about trade, talking about manufacturing, talking about immigration, talking about draining the swamp, in addition to the post-Comey, lock her up, crooked Hillary stuff. But there was a whole other economic thrust to his message. That he needs to do that again now, and there's been a lot of discussion about the fact that he's currently polling in the kind of the mid to high 80s with Republicans. Among his many problems, that's a significant one. Can Donald Trump get Republicans to come home? And the problem right now is that his message right now is nothing like the disciplined economic message that he drove in 2016. All he's talking about is himself, his grievances, and the questions related to his complaints with all of us, which is not generally the way that you get regular Republicans to find their way back to their party.
Right, and White House reporters yesterday at least told me on the tarmac, that it was one of the angriest they had ever seen Donald Trump, enraged by articles coming out.
Right.
Maggie Haberman's, John Lemire's coming out talking about staff members starting to jump ship. And so he's enraged now with 2 weeks to go. One more quick thought about these polls we saw yesterday, John Heilman. There were some people that were panicking on the left about the 4-point spread in Pennsylvania. It's funny, we've been seeing these 8, 9, 10-point spreads in Wisconsin and Michigan. I've yet to talk to a person really deep on the inside in the Trump camp or the Biden camp that haven't believed those are 2 or 3 point races and still believe those are 2 or 3 point races and believe Florida is going to be won by 100,000 votes or less.
Correct. All true. I think that's right. I think, the Biden campaign is very confident in Michigan and Wisconsin, but they recognize it's not going to be an 8 or 9 point race in Michigan and Wisconsin. And I think both sides have said, truly that Florida, it always is, that Florida is going to be a very, very close race. I think the big difference is that if you'd asked people on both sides 6 months ago, they both would have thought it's going to be very, very close, but Trump has the advantage. I think now with some of the collapse of some parts of Trump's strength, especially with seniors, now the advantage is to Biden. I don't know if the Trump campaign would acknowledge that, but I think the neutral view would be extremely close race, but a slight advantage to Joe Biden as we head to Election Day 2 weeks from now.
And to John. Thanks for checking out MSNBC on YouTube, and make sure you subscribe to stay up to date on the day's biggest stories. And you can click on any of the videos around us to watch more from Morning Joe and MSNBC. Thanks so much for watching.